Well, Solomon Dersso is an adjunct professor of law at the University of Cape Town and the founding director of Amani Afirca. That's a think tank that works on peace and security policy making in Africa. He's joining us live from Addis Ababa. Thank you very much for your time. So the presidents of DRC, Rwanda, calling for an immediate ceasefire in eastern DRC when they met. Will the M23 heed this call?
I think, the answer to this is basically the test of the pudding is in the eating. We have heard previous similar pronouncements and commitments having been made. And the reason why those previous commitments, including in the context of the East African community and the Southern Africa Development Community heads of state meeting, commitments made by both for a ceasefire, haven't yielded any concrete outcome in terms of ceasing the fighting that is currently underway in eastern DRC. So I think the test of this commitment is really to be seen on the ground. It's only when we see actual follow-through that we can be sure that this is indeed
of course, but how significant is it that it is the first time the two leaders have met since M23 stepped up its offensive in the region? The Congolese president said that talks needed to be with Paul Kagame, who in turn said M23 speaks for itself, and yet they've now met again for the first time since the M23 started making these great advances.
No, look, the rhetoric between the leaders of the two countries have been one that's also made the possibility of the search for peace more difficult. And the two leaders haven't made in the context of the peace process that was being undertaken under the Rwanda process led by Angola and the Nairobi process based in Kenya. They haven't met for quite a long time. The last time there was going to be a meeting between the two leaders was in December 15, 2024 in Rwanda. But that meeting collapsed because of disagreement over the role and place of the M23. I think since then, the fact that they have met directly is certainly a positive development that would help to create, a more positive and respectful engagement. At the same time, there is an agreement now that the DRC government is willing to engage in direct talks with the M23.
And why do you think we have reached this point? Yeah, is the DRC government, has it been forced to engage directly with M23 and also with Rwanda because they have lost so much significant territory? And is Rwanda also taking part in talks now, Paul Kagame, because of the increasing criticism coming from the UN and the EU? So,
indeed, the battlefield dynamics are adding a lot of pressure. But additionally, it's also important to recognize that one of the contentions, as far as, for example, the Rwanda process was concerned, was whether or not the Rwanda process is the forum for having that talk with the M23. And the idea and what Kinshasa was insisting on was basically, no, we have to talk with the M23 only in the context of talking to other groups under the Nairobi process. In that sense, therefore, there is a progress, and indeed the pressure from the ground and the need and the escalation of the situation with the DRC government losing significant portion of territories in eastern DRC. I hope it would help to hold this expansion and indeed the danger of the regionalization of the war itself on account of the potential involvement of others into the scene when this situation continues to expand, territorially speaking.
All right, that is...
And indeed the international community's pressure contributes to increased spotlight on the role of the leaders as well.
That is Solomon Dersso joining us live from Addis Ababa. Thank you for your analysis.